Good morning, soldiers. I am Specialist Jackson. Today we're going to be conducting training on surveillance. I have to hold it. This is all I did yesterday.
Do you want me to start it over?
No, it's fine. I'll just crop it out. Good morning, soldiers. I am Specialist Jackson. It is September 30th, 2020. The time is 09 a.m. This brief is unclassified. For today's class, you're going to be instructed and tested on how to conduct surveillance without aid of electronic device. It is a duty and responsibility of all DoD personnel to protect and preserve the environment. Be mindful that if you do see wildlife, please stay away from it. If you see a snake or any other dangerous animal, move away and please let me know. We may have to move the entire training site. If you do get bit or stung by something, please make sure that you monitor yourself for adverse reactions. If you start to have any, please let me know. If you see your battle buddy start to have any, please let me know as well. The risk assessment for today is low. Be mindful that there may be vehicles that pass by behind us. If you do see a vehicle coming towards the training area, please make sure you move out of the way and resume your position once a vehicle has passed by. It is also a little warm outside. There's water fountains as well as a latrine located inside of the gym. Go straight down that hallway on your left side. There will be a unisex latrine as well as a water fountain outside that latrine. If you do need water, please do so. Please retrieve so now. So please follow along in your handouts. First, we're going to go over the task standards and conditions. The task standards for today: you will identify potential activity indicators and conduct a visual search of your assigned sector. You will submit a salute report as required. For the task conditions, you are a member of a squad or team in a defensive position and must conduct surveillance within your assigned sector during both daylight and limited visibility, nighttime. Special conditions: there are none. There is a low safety risk. There are no cues, and there are no special notes. So to break down what's about to happen, I'm going to give you two demonstrations. The first demonstration, I will just run through it. The second demonstration, I will break down what I did the first time, step by step. After that, we will do practice. If you have any questions of the demonstration, please save it until after I've completed both, and I will address those questions. But again, after that, we will conduct practice. Once you feel comfortable enough from the practice, we're going to move into actually testing you for the assessment. Are there any questions about what I just said? Okay. So I will now conduct the first demonstration. I can see people down on the road. There are 12 people as well as 2 vehicles. I can hear vehicles running, and I can smell the exhaust of vehicles, as well as I can hear voices that are talking down on the road. I will now conduct my salute report. For the S size, there are 12 enemy infantrymen. For the A activity, the enemies are placing explosive devices along the road. For the location, the grid coordinates are Golf Delta 0, 8, 6, Fower, Tree, Fower, 8, 2, 5. For the unit, it looks like the 92nd Brigade Support Battalion from their uniforms. The time that the enemies were spotted is 14:32, and any extra equipment that I've seen are 3 heavily armored vehicles, as well as those 12 enemy soldiers that I see. They also all have rifles. That concludes the first demonstration. For the second one, like I said, I'm going to break down each step that I did to explain it, and then following that, we're going to run into the practice. So the first thing you're going to do is identify potential activity indicators. You're going to use sight, sound, touch, and smell. For sight, you're looking for things like enemy personnel or aircrafts. For sound, you're going to listen for voices or gunfire. For touch, you might come across a fire. Obviously, if the fire's put out, you're going to touch those coals or touch what's in the fire to see how warm they are, which might help you indicate how close or far away the enemy were or are. And then for smell, you might smell the exhaust of a vehicle or something else that might indicate or tell you what you're dealing with or what you may or may not have just missed. Next, you're going to perform observation techniques of the sector. For day observation, you're going to perform a rapid scan. You're going to use that to detect obvious enemy activity, so you're just going to scan the area quickly. Following that, you're going to do a slow scan, which is more deliberate. You're going to take in each sector and make sure that you are looking for anything that you may have missed. Following that, for the night observation, you're going to stay in a dark area for 30 minutes. Then you're going to move into a red light area for 20, back into a dark area for 10 minutes. The reason you move into the red light area is so that you can see. You may not have to take notes or do something. It helps you to better annotate the things that you may have seen during your assessment. For your visual observation, you're going to use slow right to left or left to right scanning. And back to with the night observation, you're going to avoid looking directly at a faintly visible light. Just try to look near it. Following that, you're going to conduct your salute report. The S stands for size. The A stands for activity. The L stands for location. The U stands for unit or uniform. The T stands for time. The E stands for equipment. So for size, you're looking for how big or how many people there are of the enemy side. For activity, you're essentially going to annotate what you see people doing. What do you see them doing? What's going on down there? For location, you're going to try to plot grid coordinates. If you can, the 8-point grid coordinate, if you can do that for where the enemies were located. For the U, unit or uniform, you're going to annotate what they were wearing in the instance that you don't know what unit they're from. And if you do, make sure you write down the unit that you think that they are, or that you know that they are. For the time, you're going to say what time you actually saw those enemies, not the time that you're sending up your salute report. Once again, you're going to annotate what time you saw those enemies, not the time that you're sending up your salute report. For equipment, you're going to annotate any additional things that did not get reported in your other points of your salute report. So now if you see vehicles or if you see weapons or you see something of that sort, now is where you report that and annotate that during your equipment part of your salute report. So does anybody have any questions about the demonstrations that just occurred? Yes.
With the rapid scan, is there like a speed?
So you're just scanning the area quickly. You're going to try to look.
So just like a quick glance over?
Yes. So you're looking about 100 meters out to see if there's anything that you see initially, and then like I said, after following that, you're going to move into your slow scan, which is more deliberate. Again, taking at each sector and doing a more detailed look on what you might see enemies doing.
So you can use this kneeling and prone as well?
Yes, it is better for you to stay in a slightly more concealed area. Obviously, if you see that there are enemies, especially nearby, just make sure that you aren't seen because you don't want them to spot you. So if you can be in a concealed area, do so. If they're far enough away, still try to conceal yourself if you can. But also make sure that you don't hinder your ability to actually see what's going on over on the other side.
Cool.
Okay. Are you prepared to do your practice assessment?
Roger.
Okay. So if you can, verbally walk me through what it is that you're going to have to do.
So I'm using my senses right now. Like I can see the 12 enemies. I can also hear like the exhaust, hear people talking. From there, I'm going to go into my rapid scan. So I'm just taking in everything quick, like a quick glance over. After that, I'm going to go into my slow, deliberate scan. So I'm taking in each sector. And after that, now I'm gonna send up that salute report. The S is size, so 12 enemies. Activity, they're digging in IEDs along the road. Location, I'm gonna send up an 8-digit grid. So Golf Delta 86, Flower Tree 508 with U is unit or uniform, so like 90-second BSB, I can tell by the uniform. T is time, so right now it is 9:08. And then equipment, they have 3 heavily armored vehicles as well as rifles and some machine guns.
So once again, you mentioned for the time that it is right now. Make sure that when you report the time, that you report the time that you spotted the enemies, not necessarily the time that you're sending up your salute report.
So when I call it up on the radio, I'm not changing the time.
So when you call it up on the radio, you're not going to say what time it is that you're calling. You're going to say what time it was that you saw people when you did your initial visual scans and assessments.
Roger.
Okay, so do you want to practice any more for that, or are you prepared to do your actual assessment?
I'm gonna take one more practice round.
Okay.
So at first I used the senses.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm looking, smelling, all that. So like I smell the diesel exhaust from the vehicles. I see like the 12 infantry soldiers. I hear them talking. And then after that, I'm gonna go into my rapid quick scan. And then after that, even my deliberate, taking in each sector. And then my salute report. So size, 12 enemies, activity, they're digging in roadside bombs, location, Gulf Delta 86 Flower Tree 508, unit and uniform, 92nd BSB because I can tell by the uniform, time 9:08. I do not change that time when I send it up though. Equipment, they got 3 heavily armored vehicles as well as some AKs and some machine guns, and that is it.
Okay, so one more thing to note, during your assessment I am going to test you on the night observation techniques that I mentioned. So once again, you're going to observe for 30 minutes, you're going to be in the dark, and then for 20 minutes you're going to move into red light, and then for 10 minutes you're going to go back into the dark. Once again, the red light, just for your situational awareness, is just so that you can annotate if you need to for things that you might need to see. Obviously it's harder to see in the dark, so the red light will help you to see a little better things that you might have to write down or things that you might need to see on your end. So are there any questions before you start your actual assessment?
I think I'm good.
Okay, so now we will conduct your actual assessment. I'm going to grab your rubric and we will get started promptly afterwards. You may begin.
So you want me to talk you through the steps, correct?
Yes, please talk me through the steps so I can make sure that I catch all
Okay,
the points.
so I'm using my senses, and I hear vehicles running, I smell exhaust, and I also see the 12 enemies. And now I'm going to go into my rapid scan where I am quickly glancing through the area, the sector. And now the deliberate and slow scan where I check each sector. And from there, that is where I'm going to send up my salute report. So the size is 12 enemy combatants. The activity, they are digging in roadside bombs. Location is Gulf Delta 86 Flower 3 Tree 5065. And then the unit or uniform, I believe it to be 92nd PSB because of their uniform. The time, right now it is 9:08. The equipment, they have 3 heavily armored vehicles as well as some AKs and some machine guns. That's it.
Okay, so you are untrained at this time. You did fail to mention the night observation techniques. That is a part of the second step that you have to commit. So retraining will be conducted at the same spot at 09 tomorrow. If you do have any questions, please wait until after the class and I will answer those questions for you. So right now we're going to police up the area. If you do have any equipment that's around or if you see any, please grab it for me. Okay, we will now conduct our AIR. So today we learned how to conduct surveillance without aid of electronic devices. What did we do today?
So we learned how to conduct surveillance. We also learned a salute report and how to send it up and what each abbreviation means.
Okay, are there any improvements for today's training?
So improvements, maybe we could be in like a field environment with some maybe MMP guys acting like enemies.
Okay. And are there any sustainments for today's training?
Sustains, I do like how in detail you got with each step after the demonstration.
Okay.
It was very helpful to me.
So the improvements are potentially doing it in a field environment, potentially with other people there that could act as enemy people for you to actually get the hands-on part and the actual visual part. And for the sustainments, you said you did like how detailed the assessment was, going over every step following the actual demonstration.
Roger.
Okay. Once again, we're going to do another quick scan of the area to make sure that we didn't miss anything. Okay. This concludes today's training. Thank you for your time. Once again, retraining will be here, same spot, 09 tomorrow. And again, if you have any questions, I will be staying afterwards. So, thank you.
Cool.